Welcome everybody to the meetup. The topic of today is ideas and tools to build AI agents for product and project management. And we were thinking about how can we explain it to you guys. And the things we want to explain to you is first, we dive a little bit into the data and the knowledge points. Then we will show some use cases and best practices around this topic. And then we go into the details of some tools and some large language models we think are valuable for you to know. And maybe we think about the differentiations between the tools. And then I have my personal ideas and conclusions about the tools, what I want to share with you. From my side, it is a personal, I like this topic a lot, and I don't want to share with you any things what I don't have tested by myself. So all the things we are talking about today is some knowledge and the perspectives of us, especially from my side, and Roman will add some value from his side also to these topics. I think this is a really hard statement here, but I believe we need the right people in the company. And I think in 3 years or something, the big corporations and the companies need 50% less people. And this is something it's really hard for everybody, I think, in the companies to understand. But I believe it is necessary to drive the value in the companies, because I think the cost of labor is so high when we look to Europe. And Roman and myself, we're also the founder of our company. And when we checked what is really valuable and how many people are working in a company, the balance is not right. And the labor costs are rising. And so technology, it is since hundreds of years, a good tool to increase the productivity in an environment like an organization or a company. And so this is just a statement of myself. I have no data points in scientific research or something around that. This is my belief. But I think we see in 3 years that 50% of the people who are working in the companies are more or less not necessary anymore. And I think AI and all the tools around that will take their job, and or will not take their job, but will reduce the people who are not so valuable, what technology can take over. And I think we need to find the right people who work also on the same level with technology together. And you can see here, I put here some slides together where you can see the stages. And when you think about where we are coming from, there's the model. First stage is called artificial narrow intelligence. This is the ape here. You can think about it was below or equal to humans in one area. So this was maybe the old chess intelligence computer who was competing with a human. Then we have the artificial general intelligence model. This is where it's equal to us humans across all our domains. And then we have the artificial superintelligence. And this is a bit scary now, because I think we are more or less coming to the center, artificial general intelligence. And when you look close to the people who are in this area, quite on the edge, like Elon Musk, or you're looking to Y Combinator in USA, and you are listening to them closely, you understand that they predict something about months when we are reaching this point. And this is something it's, I think, not so believable for us as humans, what that means. And after that, guys, I think nobody will know exactly what happens out of that. And we also like a lot of data when we think about the impact of technology. And we have here a quick slide deck from ARK Investment. It's Kathy Wood behind of this big investment firm. And she's a really good person when you think about the impact of technology. She has her own driver for this to do that. She's an investment company. But you can see here, it's really well described the impact of technology in the last 100 of years. And you can see steam engine, railroads, electricity, some other PCs, biotech, internet, e-commerce, renewables, and you can see on the right side the impact of the GDP, the predicted impact of AI to the GDP. And this is really amazing when you think about what the steam engine has, the impact of the steam engine, and compare it with the impact of AI. And in this age we are living in, and this is really something we need to think through. What does it mean? And my big bold statement from the beginning that I think in 3 years we have 50% less people in the companies. I think this is something like set by this graph also. AI has a big impact. And I think here in Central Europe also, the labor costs are so high, we need to do something around that topic. If we don't can handle the situation, I think some big companies are leaving the countries. And so this is something what we have to solve in the future. Here also, this is a good graph of the cumulation of the economic impact. And you can see industrial robots, information technology, adaptive robotics, autonomous mobility, steam engine, and AI. And this is amazing when you think about what comes there. Elon Musk was talking in a big keynote at Y Combinator about why he stepped back from politics. And he said they are just cleaning up the beach. Everybody's trying to clean up the beach, but nobody sees the tsunami what's coming to the beach. And this is the real picture I have in my mind also when I think about this topic, AI, because we can't think about too narrow to clean up just politics around the topics we have today. When big things are changing, the shifts are coming, and I think AI is something that is going on there, what we need to take care of. The next thing we need to clarify here is what is the difference between an LLM and an AI agent? Because in my preparation and also in the work, I'm stumbling quite often over these two topics or these two words. And a large language model is something different than an AI agent. The model on the left side is just a trained model with a massive amount of data, what is needed to train that. But the LLM is passive. It don't do anything without a proper command or something. And currently, the interface is most likely human-friendly by text or audio. It's really interesting when you think about the bottlenecks of communication with the machines. And it is something that Elon Musk describes. We have only some amount of seconds a day to give the informations to the LLM and get it back. So the interface or the bandwidth with the speed to speak to the machines is quite limited. But some solutions that are coming in technology in the future, I think like Neuralink or something like other things around that topic, open this bandwidth a lot. And examples for LLMs are like, you know them already, GPT-4, Gemini, Claude, or some others who are described here. The major thing you need to understand, a large language model is not acting autonomously. On the other side, there is an AI agent. And you can think about the AI agent is like the robo who needs a brain, and the brain is the LLM. Together with him or with the brain, the robot can think a little bit more. It can make a plan. It can make decisions. It can also execute actions. And this is something that now an AI agent can break down complex tasks in sub-tasks and can work on them. And this is really has a big impact now on our age. In the last models of also ChatGPT and other LLMs, there comes also memory in. And this is something I think that is now a bit more advanced because you can give them knowledge over time and they really remember that. And I think, Roman, you have also some information about that. There was some...
Yeah, I wanted to jump in here maybe because I think, especially on the large language models, what we know is, as you mentioned, right, ChatGPT, GPT-4, Gemini, and so on. These are like the main big ones. But interestingly enough, there are coming more and more models up for specific areas. So I'm holding actually next week on Tuesday in Johannesburg a keynote on the Analytica Fair, the biggest biotech laboratory fair in the world. And in preparation, obviously, because we have clients in this area in biotech, I was going through what is happening in AI and biotech, and it's insane. And there are specific models for example, protein structures specifically trained, optimized in this area. And I see that trend in a lot of areas happening where you have these specific, very well-trained and structured models. And now you can put on top the automation through AI agents. And then things start getting really crazy, right? Where you basically have your coworker in the cloud called agent. And that makes it very interesting. So that's maybe just an add-on from my side, Mark.
Cool. Thank you very much. And
maybe
there
just
was,
to sorry
please,
just
Roman,
to
yes.
just to say that again, if you have questions, if you want to ask anything, please feel free to use the chat. I have a look on the chat. At the end, we collect some questions. We can have discussion. We can talk about that. And for all those who joined later on, you can find the recording of this also on YouTube. So in case you missed something at the beginning, I will post the link again in a second. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, Roman. Now, when we think about using AI in the context of project and product management, there we have figured out there are two ways you can think about. The one thing is you step on AI and it makes you as a product owner, as a product manager or a project manager a bit higher, so you can use it. And on the other side, it's also possible to integrate it into your product or as a part in your project. And these are the two different perspectives we think about always when we think about AI solution. And this is something quite interesting because now you can imagine there are many, many possibilities out of that, how you can integrate AI in your daily work. And now I have some interesting information. I like really much the environment of technology. And I learned about that the prompt is not the only thing that is valuable. Maybe guys, you heard about that, but I guess maybe not. So we will see. The IP, the intellectual property of a company. Doesn't matter if it's an old company or a new company, it was always the same. When you buy a company, you have some goodwill in the mergers and acquisition times. There's always the intellectual property gets some amount, and then the new buyer of the company has to pay for it. And in the digital age, I think we need to think about the IP of a company a little bit more dedicated. What is there? It's not only the brand rights or some other things. The prompt is something that is really valuable in a company. And when we talk about prompting, this means something like the LLM needs some information how to proceed or how to start with something. But I think more the prompt is a soft description or a context giving to the LLM what you need. And this is something everybody of us has done that before. If you are here today in the meetup, I'm 100% sure you have already prompts around some problems you have and get some feedback from the AI, from the LLM. But from the perspective on the IP, the prompt is something like the hard fact. It's really built up. It's something like the strict rules how you need to operate in this environment in your company. There are the processes behind and everything. And some people, like now we call them prompt engineers, has established them. And on the other side, there are evals. This is something like informations for evaluation, systematic methods for testing and measuring. And you can see today, I show you later, some prompts of some big companies that are really amazing written, but they are not publishing their evals because it is something like, it's like a key. Nobody can open the door without the things that are here written down. You need the right prompt. You need the right examples in your company to describe also in the prompt what you expect. And then you need the evals also. And these three parts are the IP, the intellectual property of a modern digitized company. And this is quite interesting. And in the description now, in the next points, I will tell you a bit more about what you need to know when you're thinking about the state of the art of prompting, because I think everybody of you has now seen so many YouTube videos and stuff about prompting, gets on LinkedIn some tips and tricks, or on Instagram and stuff like that. But I like always to have a framework in the head, what we can use and build out our knowledge by ourselves. We don't are only copy pasting stuff. We can create and design things. And I found this 3-layer prompting model. It's also, I have seen that the first time at Y Combinator. It's one of the biggest, largest accelerators in the USA for new companies, and they structuring it like that. I have here now an example written down in the context of for project and product management, and they starting always with a system prompt. The system prompt is something, it defines the global rules, the roles, the tones, the safety, the boundaries, and the core principles. And this, you have seen that always give the role at the beginning of a prompt to somebody or to the LLM what you are expecting. That's of course normally, but I have never seen that they are using different type of prompts that they are structuring together for different expectations and solutions. And then you're going one layer deeper to the developer prompt, and at the end you have the end user prompt. And so you are describing from the B2B context more to the B2C context, a little bit closer to the end customer. And here in the example, from define the global rules, roles, tones, safety, boundaries, and core principles, you go on the developer prompt to configure for specific project management workflows, tools, and output formats. This is something here in the description of project management. You're going quite into the process, what you are expecting, which tools are the AI behind using, and what are the expected output formats. And an example here could be for the system prompt, you are a professional, reliable, and detail-oriented AI project management assistant. Always ensure clarity, respect for confidentiality, and escalate any ambitious or sensitive issues to a human project manager. Communicate in a conscious and actionable manner. He's also written because the big problem is when the LLM has not all the information, they starting hallucinating. And this is a problem in the AI world. You need to tell them that they have to stop when they don't have all the information. They can make good assumptions out of it. And this is written down here. And also the sensitive information that are not maybe good to give away in the companies need to be clarified upfront. The developer prompt here in the example, your task is to help a project manager create a detailed project plan. Now you go a little bit more narrow. What are you expecting here? Gather project objectives, scope, stakeholders, timeline, break down the project into phases, tasks, assign roles, estimate durations, identify risk, and suggest mitigation strategies. Format the output as a structured table with columns for task owner, start date, end date, and status. And at the end user prompt, the actual request or question from the project manager or team member, this is something now you have a lot of project managers maybe in your company, they are using that. I need a project plan for launching our new mobile app, including key milestones, responsible team members, and estimated deadlines. But everything before is clarified and set up. And this is something Roman and myself, we are loving. We are always, when we're going out to the enterprises in this world, to build up standards for project and product management. And this is the same here. There are standards implemented where everybody in the company can touch to. And this is the structure of this three-layer prompting: system prompt, developer prompt, and end user prompt. And the aim of this three-layer prompting is to achieve flexibility, scalability, but also precision. And this was really interesting for me in the preparation for this meetup today to show you guys. All right. The next thing I want to explain to you is meta prompting. For me, meta prompting means asking an AI to help create, improve, or explain prompts for other AI tasks instead of just answering questions directly. So this is something you can use AI to help design or fix prompts, not just give answers. It focuses on making prompts clearer and more effective. This leads to better and more reliable results from the AI. This is meta prompting. On the other hand, there is another word that is called prompt folding. And prompt folding means it's a technique where AI models analyze and rewrite their own prompts. Their own prompt. This is something like, it's they are iterating in themselves to make the prompt better, shorter, clearer, more efficient without losing meaning, reducing token usage, and improving response quality. Here's just easy words description. One prompt can generate better versions of himself, but they need examples where they failed in the past. And it could be something like the prompt could be, help me to make this prompt better. And this is something quite interesting when you think about now this word prompt folding. Another one I already told you is hallucination. Hallucination is something I think we have seen a lot when in the media, maybe they said it failed. The informations are really unreliable. It's weird what comes out there. And hallucination in AI means the model generates information or answers that sounds plausible, but are actually false, made up, or not based on real data. And this is an issue because I think the AI tries always the best, no? But it's when it has not enough data, we need to tell them that they should ask us to give us more data or context or something what they need, what is missing. And this is an issue here. AI invents facts or details that aren't true, can happen when the model lacks enough information, reduces trust and reliability of AI responses. And this is something you need, please keep in your mind. And on the other side, I think always we have seen the discussion, is AI possible to think? And I think, like I told you before, there are thoughts already in the AI world. And thinking traces is something also quite new. The thoughts the model go through while solving a problem before producing a final answer. And this is something quite interesting to watch from the outside to the thinking process. And one of the LLM, Gemini, and here is using also another tool from Google to make this visible. Gemini can make this visible by his own, but there are other tools where you can make it visible.
Maybe Mark, as there is coming up, there was a question coming up related to the agents as well, and it might fit quite well here because I just could give some input here. The question was: is there any AI agent we are using in everyday life? And I just recently read about two things which I just want to share. So one is the traffic management system as an example. So they're already using AI agents for managing traffic. And this looks like the following. There are cameras, there are microphones, there are various sensors recognizing how the traffic looks in a city. And based on this, the agents start collecting the information, thinking about predictions and problems, learning from the past. And now the interesting thing is that these agents start communicating with each other, which means they tell, look, here on my road, I foresee the following issue. A congestion might come up soon because of this and that. Dear agent, the road next door, please be careful. Maybe you switch your traffic light to green so that it gets more efficient. So what they're doing is managing the flow more efficient. That's one example from everyday life. And I had another one is the smart grid controllers, which you probably heard about as well. So if it's about electricity, especially when you have, for example, a solar in your company or even in domestic spots where you have smart meters, but more about actual grid controlling. So whether to buy, whether to sell, whether to take the electricity from the grid, put it into the battery, and there are actually agents already behind running to assess that for you and to run that. So these are two examples which I just wanted to mention. But there are coming in way more questions. I'm going to put them at the end of the slide deck.
That's good, Roman. Please, yes. Now we want to have a look a little bit closer to project and product management and some maybe use cases here. And when I was thinking about, I'm just building products now, I'm driving projects, and my biggest pain points I was thinking about. And so when I'm working in projects, you know already, the size of the team is limited to, I think, 6 to 8 people, something, because complexity is rising when more people are in the team. And we always think about a cross-functional team with only the people who are necessary. So for me, I would use AI tooling to optimize my team size. This could be something like bring in the right people with a broad knowledge and with the right tools, that they are specialized for many different parts by AI, but the whole amount of people I can reduce in my team. This would be something I have a pain point, because when I need to talk to 6 people, it takes much more energy because they have questions, misunderstanding. And if I can only talk to 3 people and they have the same output, it would be great. On the other side, projects, I have a lot going on with stakeholder management. Every day, every normal work day, I have 1.5 hours stakeholder management, I would say. This is normal. I started this morning at 5:30, and the first things I have to do is align some work sessions with them, update them about the current state of the project, get the next review planned and stuff like that. And so streamlined stakeholder management is one big pain point of myself in the context of projects. On the other side, accelerate communication. Business love speeds is something Roman and myself agreed on. And so when you receive something, it's quite important to give a proper feedback and a fast feedback. And because I think it's something like speed is nice, quality is also nice, and when it comes together, everybody's happy. On the other side, Roman and myself, we are doing a lot of things where we have added in the past personal assistants, human personal assistants to us. They was scheduling our meetings, they was preparing documentations, they was preparing slide decks, sent out the documentations. They just did so much, organize flights, stuff like that. And so for me, also in my project, I would like to have a personal assistant that has a clear overview about my calendar, can make some assumptions, can put in the things there. Maybe they can pre-write an email, an important one, have an overview about my inbox also, and do things there. This is in the context of projects, what I think is helpful in our context, supported by AI. On the other side, products, when you have developers or when you work in the biotech environment, you have maybe some doctors or some biologists there, not the normal developers. You work with some product guys who building the products together. And it's always good to be fast, but bring also the quality, the consistent quality. And this is something, also from the past, it's never easy to find the right balance. But I'm sure that we getting with AI faster, we will be faster in the development process. And we are capable to ensure consistent quality. I'm sure about that. And like Roman told us before, when he's on the fair next week there, he will talk a lot about digitization in the lab environment. And there are so many things brewing, what's coming up. The meeting load is something I would say also is really helpful when we reduce it. I never call a meeting a meeting. I always say it's a work session, and only the people who are necessary to work are there in my point of view. If I need something like a commitment of stakeholders, I pick them that the right people are there, the really important one, where I need to have an alignment, something like an IT department leader or some region manager or something like that, because I want to have a commitment. So he needs to be there, that everybody sees his face and that he is saying yes to everything. And then he has a social proof that he is aligned by the topics what we have presented in the review. And this is quite important, but I never call the meetings. It's always a work session because I want everybody to work there. Support product rituals. If you work in a more agile environment, and Roman and myself, we always work in Scrum-Bun environments. That means we have a dedicated rhythm with a planning event and a review event and some working sessions between. And we structure it always. We have our own framework here for that. And there are many rituals needs to be planned. And there's support also needed. I think maybe when you are in the product world, a product manager or a product owner or something like that, you know that.
Maybe Mark, I can jump in here if
Yes,
that's fine from your timing. Just let me know if it's too much. Just two examples. You had one, this personal assistant topic. I, for example, have a tool. I think it's called Fixer AI, which acts basically like a personal assistant. You integrate it with your Outlook. It checks your emails. It categorizes them for you. It reads through your email. It pre-writes drafts for you based on your tone. So it learns over time how you're replying, and you have a list of drafts based on what you need. So it's your personal assistant, which is great. And another example, you said accelerate development. for this fair next week where I'm having the keynote, I actually prototyped a bit with Lovable. That's another tooling for prototyping, rapid prototyping. Not even prototyping, I mean, it's for app development. It's actual development. I built within literally 1.5 hours a tool where you can upload blood results. It analyzes it. It connects automatically to ChatGPT, analyzes the results, gets the data, puts it into a database, structures it, and displays it more beautiful than I could ever code my UI. And the magic behind is I didn't need to set up a database. I didn't need to set up a front end. I didn't need to set up any API. It's all done with prompting and pretty good. Probably a remark, the consistency of the quality is not there yet like a senior developer, but that's just a matter of time from my perspective. So there are various areas, especially in project and product management. Think about product launching. You could have an agent screening all the social media of the competitive field. You can ask that agent to do a proper market research and analysis, put that all together for you, let it run, bring all the information and deliver to you like an actual market competitive analysis. So these are some concrete examples still. Mark, please go ahead.
Thank you, Roman. This is something we think about project and product management where AI can help. For me, it's really interesting. Maybe you guys have some other thoughts around where you need help in project and product management by AI. Maybe you can drop some thoughts here in the chat and give us some feedback of use cases you have in your head.
Actually, somebody just posted for PM, so project management and project management office probably. We've created AI engines in our AI working group. So if you have already can send you our link to a webinar, you can see it. Okay, cool, perfect. So that's in the chat. So there is another example for product enablement, Peter says. So if you have some examples where you already created something, where you worked with it, it's always welcome.
For product, what was it from Peter?
Enablement. Another one wrote e-commerce targeting and performance analysis built with a few different agents. So e-commerce targeting, performance analysis, so how products perform, I assume, if you write that, Marvane. I will put that into, that's the feedback. So there are a lot of things already running. User story creation, product discovery support with large language models. Yep.
We heard that before.
We heard that before, yes.
Nice.
Repetitive tasks, things where you can quickly do that. That's great. Are you using Jira for this, Marius? I'm just curious, or is that any other tooling, or how do you do that? Maybe you can answer that. Max writes here, I imagine AI engines network could help in managing the whole SDLC cycle integrated with tools like Jira, GitHub, and so on, network of agents acting as product manager, requirements analysis, architecture, and then code generation down the road. 100%, yes. Yeah, I think the chat is going wild, so there are a lot of examples happening. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you very much, Roman. Nice. Now we have a look on the best practice here, and it's really fancy best practice. I like that a lot. It's a little bit nerdy. I hope it's not too hard for you, but I liked it a lot. When we think back to our 3 layers, now we are discussing a system prompt here, and I want to show you here some best practices. It's a company behind. It's called ParaHelp, and they are describing here their system prompt. And they are working with some bullet points, and you can see here with the hashtag means bullet point, and they are describing here your instruction as a manager. You have, your task is. You will return either. And you can see here they are using a markdown type of style in this prompt, and it's getting a little bit more maybe human unfriendly, more machine friendly. But I think the more professional way to describe the things we will see sooner gets a little bit more closer to programming style. And this is something really interesting when we think about prompting. I was thinking about a lot since I think 2 or 3 days when I was running outside here at Lake Chiemsee. I think maybe like the evolvement of the programming languages. This was something maybe in the past there was some solutions needed, and then they evolved. And I think here in the prompting area, there are also some more precise solutions needed. And so the prompting styles are evolving. And maybe I think there are maybe some different types of languages in prompting evolving also. And this is quite interesting when you think about what happens currently, what happens now in our age. And this is the first here, setting up the role of the LLM. This is the first one. After that, they describe it like that: break down the high level plan. And they're doing always something like 5 steps. What needs to be done? To do this, you should first analyze all, then check the tool call. If the tool call passes, the checklist for tool call. And you can see here there are also links now between different models and things that are prepared already before, and they are putting the things here together. This is quite interesting. In case the tool call does not pass the checklist for tool or customer service policy, then return to this here. You should always make sure that the tool call helps the user with their request and follows the customer service policy. And it's quite interesting when you see these 5 steps here, how granular they break it down. Important notes: you should always make sure that the tool call does not contain incorrect information and that it is coherent with the customer service policy. You should always make sure that the tool call is following the rules in and checklists, blah, blah, blah. And this is quite interesting. The breakdown of the high level plan is written down here at the second part. Now, at the next step, you can see the output is structured. How to structure your feedback. And this is quite precise described here in this prompt. And I think as a best practice, it's quite interesting. It's not looking like when I'm writing a prompt normally. This is really a prompt that is a high value in the company. What many things are interconnected in the company, and that needs to be something like a value driver for the key outcome of the company. When the structure of the output is here described, then you can see here now there are some integration of other agents. And these are all the other agents here in the prompt that are linked to also in the prompt before. And now you can understand when you build up things like that, it's quite difficult for a competitor only to copy the prompt, or that one employee takes this when he's leaving the company, because so many things are necessary to keep the whole machine running and the AI working smoothly in the company. And also, at the end, here's the example also given the AI, that the prompt can be measured against something, what is expected, because the expected thing that comes out is described here in an example. And this is also quite interesting when you think about how we are prompting as humans, and it's quite far away like this is described here. It's a really high value structure, and it's interlinked with some hyperlinks in between the agents, and more machine friendly written, because everybody here from the experts say the machine understands it much better when it's more machine friendly written than human friendly. And that's quite interesting. Now we take a look for the tools and LLMs. And from my perspective, I only want to tell you what we have worked with ourselves in the daily life. And like Roman, I did also some rapid prototyping here, built some apps and stuff like that. But I'm not the most common expert in this area, though I don't want to talk too much today about some rapid prototyping stuff. What I like to talk about is my favorite tools here of LLMs and the differentiation of these tools here, because I think this is quite important. On the left side, I just put it in hierarchy. The first one is the tool I'm using the most, is Perplexity. And Perplexity stands out for real-time citation and fact-based answers, making it ideal for research and up-to-date information. It's amazing how Perplexity works, and the audio interface, also the mobile interface, is so good. And you can use the desktop version on your desktop PC or Mac, or you are using it on your mobile phone. It gives you the output as an audio. You can give them the input as an audio. It's working quite well. ChatGPT is something like the Swiss Army knife currently. Everybody knows that. ChatGPT remains the most versatile and widely adopted, excelling in conversations, creativity, and broad integration. It's amazing how ChatGPT has now the connectors open up. Here you can put in Outlook, you can open up for OneDrive, and not only for Google Drive and Gmail. It's quite interesting. On the other side, there's Gemini. I think, in my perspective, I think it's a tool I didn't looked closely enough, Gemini, because I think it's really capable to use it to improve the prompts, because it's a model that is really smart. It's built up by Google, and it's a forefront of native multimodality and contextual reasoning, especially for complex tasks and Google integration. I think the last thing we want to do is make a video or short videos out of the AI things, because this is something an end consumer would do. In our context of business, we are reducing the turnaround time or making real value in the companies. Roman, you found it?
No, not yet. No.
Yes. All right. Thank you. And Gemini can also prepare videos, but I think that's not so valuable for us. On the other side, there's Claude, and I really liked Claude a lot, but I was a little bit unhappy. And then I was thinking about, should I use it? Should I not use it? But Claude's still the leader in AI safety and ethical alignment with transparent reasoning and our focus on trustworthy enterprise applications. And I think about a lot, is it really necessary to have a lot of these tools in one company and available for everybody in the company? And like I told you before, I think we don't need in a company with, I think now in an example, 100 people anymore. In the future, there will be only 50 people. But the people who are in the company are equipped with the right tools and the right mindset and the right skills. And I think the tools are necessary to have in their toolbox, because each tool has some other capabilities, and the people in your company should be aware of the differentiations between the tools and should use them smoothly in the daily operations. I have here an overview also. I just generated it by Perplexity here, and there are the strengths, the weaknesses, and the best force written down also. I don't want to go more into details here, but I also put here DeepMind in. This is something you can use for scientific things like here gene editing stuff and things like that. And but it's nothing I would say I have ever done in my life, so I didn't use it, and I did not put it in my favorite toolkit. So my favorite toolkit, number one, Perplexity, ChatGPT, because I think in future we have quite good connectivity to our Outlook and MS365 environment. Gemini, because I need real data from the market when I do market research for new products, when I need to figure out the laws and stuff like that in the markets. Gemini is my go-to source. Sorry for that. Perplexity is my go-to source. Gemini I would use for more scientific things when I need to approve a model or something or improve a prompt. And Claude is more for the safety environment when I want to work maybe a little bit more protected in an environment. Yes, these are my favorite tools. At the end, my personal conclusion here, I want to give you, I have 7 points I think that are really important for you to maybe think through by yourself. In our case, I would not use the free versions of the tools, because you are training the open models, and I think it's completely out of GDPR and everything what you are doing there. And so the things you need to consider in a company is always the pro versions, because I think this is the way how you should use proper software tools. For me, what is really a game changer is use the desktop client. I know Gemini you can easily access by the browser of Google Chrome, but I think the desktop clients, also Claude, Perplexity, and ChatGPT are so good. It's so valuable. They are so easy and user-friendly on the mobile phone also. You have everything behind synchronized. build up your own toolbox of AI tools is something Roman is using Lovable quite heavily. He liked it. And I'm using a different tool for my prototyping stuff. And so everybody needs to find out what suits to him. I like to experiment with voice input because I'm much faster by describing things and having fluent description or discussion here by voice with the tool when I need to have something like a sparring partner. Test integrations with your calendar and email client. This is always something you need to think about. Are you rely on the tools? Are they taking too much information out there? I would say test around. Maybe you make a mailbox or some calendar, what you are sharing, what is maybe just a test account to figure out what they are reading and how it's working. But I think we will see some amazing solutions there in the next months. Learn to collaborate in shared spaces and projects. This is a big thing. Think about when we are doing something in the company and everybody needs to write their own prompts and stuff like that. It would be so good when we can share the things we are prepared there. And in some tools, it's called spaces. In other, it's called projects. And this is something really valuable. I think what we need to consider when you look to companies, their OneDrive, it's the same. Sometimes people have access to all the data, sometimes nobody has access. And I think this is the same issue like data storage in the future. How can we make prompts and agents available for everybody in the company and how this will be structured? On the other side, the last point I'm thinking about is continue developing your prompt engineering skills. Like we discussed today about the architecture, 3 layers and stuff like that. Open up, be open-minded about things like that and think about what you can learn by participating on meetups like this today. And these are my personal conclusions of this meetup. I hope you enjoyed this information,
Mark.
this
Thank you.
capital. And then we now open up the discussion.